Hello, I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. It is Wednesday, November 30th at 6:26 p.m. Eastern Time, USA, in the year 2022. I am systematically challenging the United States military to a pistol duel or wrestling match. So we'll start with that. If you have achieved the rank of Staff Sergeant in the United States military or any of its branches, the equivalent in any of its branches, I challenge you to a pistol duel using non-lethal compressed air-powered paintball pistols. Since we do not have the prototypes, and I'll get into that in the next segment, since we do not have the prototypes, we'll revert to a wrestling match using scholastic rules. If you win the duel, you will delay me challenging the next rank down in the military by 6 months. You will also receive a piece of my art valued at millions of dollars. If I win the duel, you must find money in your budget to fund my smart weapons company, the first task of which is to produce these non-lethal pistol duels to be distributed strategically to the public. If you cannot get that budget passed, you must use some of your own personal monies to fund the non-lethal or the smart weapons company. In return, you will receive a stock certificate giving you partial ownership over the company and possibly voting rights, things like that, as well as a piece of my art or a piece of my art valued at millions of dollars or at least thousands of dollars. If you ignore this challenge, if you don't accept the challenge, you are first and foremost a coward, and the blood and death of any military action around the globe is on your hands for not justifying and validating this type of modern warfare, a type of warfare that values marksmanship and hand-to-hand combat skills, two sets of skills that are taught to almost every military personnel around the globe, thereby evening the playing field instead of hiding behind computer screens and pressing buttons to fire long-range weapons into unknown territories. Now that's out of the way. I have the hat on. That's right, we're talking to royalty around the globe. I'm winding down my challenge of the military. I've got about, I think, a month and a half left of challenging the military. So by the end of January, I'll probably be done. Now, I talked about going to the Ukraine after that, and I've made public a campaign on my Mitch for Mayor website. And if I get support from people monetarily and otherwise, I will attempt to reach out to Ukraine and other EU nations to go and take photographs and launch my technology companies in the Ukraine. But we're talking to the royalty. I talked the last time about how I might be a hidden royalty in the United States, and I talked about how earth rocks, earth stone that came from deep within the Earth's core emits radioactive frequency, and marble, granite, things like that, and how this may cause people to be sociopaths. But it's not your fault. The Masons built the buildings with these pretty and beautiful stone, and they may or may not have known about its consequences. So did you grow up with granite countertops? That you had your head stuck over eating bowls of soup every day? Was there marble or granite tile in your bathroom? That's alright, it's not your fault, you're a sociopath. But what we are reaching out to is the royalty, the bloodlines that have come from these ancients that were in touch with the sun and the stars via wireless frequency. They did not become sociopaths. They were in tune with those heavenly bodies and care about their subjects and their citizens. So we're reaching out to them. I'm reaching out to you. You don't have to recognize me as royalty or even as your equal. But I think we together can end all deadly war on this planet and have a new way to resolve conflict. And I'm looking for your help. Some of you have still control most of your nations. Some of you are just figureheads that have a fair amount of money, but don't have a lot of real power politically. I'm reaching out to you, and I offer you a gift. I explained the wormy chestnut, the American chestnut that had a blight of worms that caused it to become extinct, I think, or close to extinction. I probably should have looked it up better. Either way, it has a blight. It shows faith in nature to recover from great catastrophe, such as climate change and things like that. So I chose this as my royal wood. I told you about how my dad has a stash of this wood from a home in Utica, Pennsylvania, where I grew up on the French Creek. It came out of an old house that my uncle purchased. So I'd like to offer any royalty around the globe a gift. A 1 foot by 1 foot piece of this wormy chestnut that you can take and make 2 dueling pistol handles out of. You can mill it down. You can give it to your military to develop the prototype compressed air powered dueling pistols. Now these I will insist that these have a radio controlled sinking mechanism that locks out the trigger on it after a set amount of time. 1 or 3 seconds is my recommendation, possibly 5 or 10 seconds. But once someone fires, they have 1 to 10 seconds to fire the other pistol before it locks out. Other than that, it syncs up with a central device that can count out steps instead of having a human count out the paces. And I have some ideas for that module, but if you want to collaborate with me, that would be great. But I think every individual nation should be free to develop their prototypes, and then we'll vote on which prototypes become the standard model. So contact me through your embassy, through my embassy, if you would like the gift of this royal American wormy chestnut. The first nation to do this will get their military will get to set the agenda and the choices for all other militaries to vote on. So where the standard model is produced, the first nation to contact me will get to pick 10 cities that will be voted on where these will be produced. So on and so forth for other options and choices we can think of for the agenda of producing these weapons on a large scale. So I will travel to Washington, D.C. on my own money to meet at your embassy and deliver this board of royal wood. Just contact me. My information is out there. I don't want to say it on here because it'll probably get blanked out, and then that'll cause hostility to certain nations that can't hear my mailing address, which I was going to say on here. For my safety, probably certain entities would block that out so that you cannot show up on my doorstep. So I'll come to your embassy, meet with military personnel, meet with actual royalty if you'd like, deliver that item, and we can talk about the logistics and anything else you want to talk about. Mile marker 70 on the bicycle trail between Washington, D.C. and Pittsburgh, so on and so forth. I'm going to go into more on that in the next segment, next week. I did last week's early because we were leaving for the Thanksgiving holiday, and it was the only time I had to do it. If you are willing to pay my expenses, again, this is a gift. You don't have to pay for the actual wood. I will pay my father for the wood. I'll pay him handsomely, and I might need to explain to him what is going on, but I can swear him to secrecy so that nobody else finds out about this program. If you're willing to pay my expenses, I will travel to any NATO nation to meet with you. If you don't have an embassy in D.C. or you don't want to come to the United States to meet, I will meet at your embassy in any NATO nation. I feel that it's very important that we get NATO to recognize both my peace treaty and this new method of conflict resolution. Therefore, I'm willing to travel to any of those nations. And the fact that my home nation is a NATO nation, I'm willing to travel there. Furthermore, other than that, if that still does not meet your requirements, I'm willing. I have a friend in South Korea, and if you will pay my expenses, or at least reimburse me, verify that I will be reimbursed upon arrival, both for the NATO nation, or I will fly to South Korea and meet at your embassy or at a undisclosed location that you can contact me when I get there, and we can exchange the board. I don't know the customs and trade situation with a piece of raw lumber. I was just going to pack it in my luggage and say it was my lucky board that I'd take with me for good luck. That's all I could come up with. Anyway, you, the royalty, can give this to your military personnel. I can meet with military personnel. I can meet with royalty. I can meet with both. I can talk to your military personnel. We can set agendas. We can figure out a voting system to vote on where these will be produced, and develop a method to vote on the standard model of all the prototypes that are produced. So that is what I propose to the royalty of the world. I humbly request that we stop the madness, stop the large bodies of politicians manipulating the media and convincing whole populations of the planet to fight each other and kill each other and injure each other bodily. This needs to end. We can end it very quickly. We can resolve the conflicts at the highest levels in secret first, get those conflict resolutions done before we unroll this to the mass public, and that's why I'm reaching out to you, the royalty of the world. So I hope you'll consider contacting me, and I can't think of anything else. I don't want to make it too long. I hope you'll take the 40 minutes to watch these two videos and maybe get I know the audio isn't great on this, get a transcript translation of this segment, these two videos that I've made. And thank you, and I hope we can work together to make a peaceful world and make a better place for more people on this planet. Thanks.